Hi everybody, welcome to XClamJus. And in this video I'm going to be taking a look at a game that was sent to me by the user Anime Grime. And let's see, he was playing with black pieces, so let's go ahead and flip the board. Okay, so d4, d5, double queen pawn opening, c4, and knight to f6. This is called the Marshall defense, I believe. And you can play this. It's not my favorite option of the queen pawn. If I was playing as black, I like to play the Slav defense, so I go with c6. And for people that are newer to chess, I also would recommend either going with the Slav or going with the Queen's Gambit declined with e6. And maybe specifically, I think the Cambridge Springs variation is an easy Queen's Gambit declined variation to learn. That's sometimes recommended for people that don't have much opening study time. And I myself, I advocate the Slav, but just don't go for the semi-Slav. I wouldn't recommend that for anybody that doesn't have tons and tons of time to study openings, because that just goes so deep. Okay, and also there are other options like e5. That's an Albin counter gambit. That's also possible, but I myself think that's a little bit unsound, so I wouldn't go for that necessarily. Okay, so knight to f6, knight c3. If I was playing as white here, I would just go ahead and take, and that way I can, get a big center, while also making black lose tempo with moving the knight around. Okay. So, back to the actual game. Knight c3, bishop f5, knight to f3, knight to c6. This is something I probably would refrain from doing, because usually in double queen pawn openings, at some point you're either going to need to play c6 to hold up your center, or c5 to break in the center and try to attack the center, and knight to c6 makes that a little bit more difficult. C takes d5, knight takes d5, knight takes, queen takes, e3, bishop g4. This is another thing that I might not do if I was playing as black, because you're moving the bishop twice, and meanwhile you still need to get out this bishop. And so if I was playing as black, I maybe would have thought about something like maybe just e6 or e5, maybe even, and that would be just to get out my dark squared bishop and continue developing my pieces. In any case, bishop g4, bishop e2, now e5, h3, bishop h5, knight takes, and knight takes. Yeah, that I don't know if that was best. I think just queen taking on g2, and that way you're threatening the rook while getting a pawn. And so I think that may have been best, because that way you do threaten the rook. Knight takes 5, bishop takes, knight d3 check, and king e2. Yeah, that probably wasn't the best choice, because giving up the right to castle. Yeah, when you could have just taken with the queen, that probably would have been better. But anyways, king e2, queen takes h5 check, king takes. Yeah, taking with the queen on d3 would have been much better than moving the king, because now this king is kind of centrally placed, and that's not very good for him. e4, queen takes, 3, castling, I don't know if c6 was the best way to test white, because I feel like that's just using a tempo that you could be using to, say, just develop out this bishop. Because right now this white king is not very well placed, and so you kind of want to create a lot of pressure around him. You know, he's stuck in the center of the board, bishop c5, and then you'd be putting pressure on the center pawn that's pinned. And then also you'd be getting out your last minor piece, and then you get the rooks connected. And so I think that may have been a better choice. c6 doesn't exactly start taking advantage of the fact that the white king is very, very precariously placed here in the center. Okay. f4, rook to e8, e5, f5, and he takes f6. Yeah, this is just terrible. This is just awful. Like, this is probably, I think, the worst move that white could have possibly played, and he managed to yeah. So the white king is in the center, and so white decides to voluntarily open up this rook in the center and make it so that this e4 square is incredibly weak. Okay, but this is just awful. I can't hold myself together on that. Okay. Don't do that. If your king is in the center, the last thing that you want to do is open up your opponent's pieces to attack your king. e4, queen e4, king c4, queen takes e3, rook e1, and b5 is checkmate. Yeah, so that's a nice checkmate. I like checkmate with pawn, weakest piece, and also the queen is attacked. I like it when pieces are hanging. Okay, yeah, so in this video we get to get a look at some of those opening queen pawn ideas that you can have. You know, things like the Queen's Gambit declined and Slav defenses are things that I'd recommend over the Marshall. And yeah, so I recommend taking a look at some of those ideas, and then that might help you out at the opening a little bit better if you focus on playing some stronger moves in the opening. And so that's probably one suggestion I could give. And also to remember to get out all of your minor pieces and try to avoid moving the same piece more than once in the opening before you've gotten your other pieces out. Unless you see a great reason to avoid following one of those rules. Okay, so that's all for this video. Thanks for sending in this game. Thanks for watching. That's all. Bye.